Hi folks, welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel and day 4 of our Tacoma to Tundra road trip. Now this one is starting in the truck because we have a lot of kilometers to do. Today we're going from Quesnel to Smithers, BC, which is only I think 600 kilometers-ish, so
yeah.
Not a crazy day. And I got the GoPro running out the windshield. You can see the conditions have been really nice. It actually has just barely rained on us today. The roads here are fairly flat and straight, so we're doing 100 to 110 kilometers an hour. Today's been easy.
It's been a pretty consistent, easy day.
Which has given Matthew and I lots of time to worry about what is coming, because first of all, tomorrow is going to be a 1,300 kilometer day. At least we are hopeful that it will be a 1,300 kilometer day. We'll see how it all shakes out in the end. And the reason why we're pushing so hard is because once we found out about those 2 ice crossings on the Dempster, I mean, we wanted to make sure we get up there and get over, because we want that shot at the Arctic Ocean.
Because it's a real fear. We've been hearing reports, and Steve will read a couple in a second, that these roads are starting to close.
Yeah, we should also say, right now, right here, 13 degrees Celsius, so it's getting quite warm. In Inuvik, where we're going, the days right now are above freezing, 2 degrees, 3 degrees. And so yeah, right here, the Northwest Territories has a great Twitter feed where they share what's going on with the ice roads. I'll actually give you a look at it right here, and you can see the Liard, I'm sure I'm butchering the names, I apologize. The Liard ice crossing and the Noodlee ice crossing, 72-hour notice of closure. But be aware that the deteriorating conditions may warrant a sudden closure. So guys, you know, the weather waits for no man, and that's why we are doing our best just to get up there, because
we've got boots on the ground in Dawson City.
That too.
We've got a fan in Dawson City who's involved with transport and logistics, and he's been updating us, and he's telling us reports from the Dempster are mud, mud, and mud. So stuff's melting. It's practically spring. It is spring.
Yeah.
It's setting in quick, and I know we're starting to worry about it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, needless to say, we want to make it. Worst case scenario, we're gonna have that ice crossing in the background, and that's gonna be as far as we go, but that's not why we came here, which is why we are trying to push so hard and just make up so many kilometers these next couple of days so we can get up to those ice crossings. But in terms of what's going on for the rest of today, let's come back to it. We are going to Smithers. We have our last dealer meeting today at Glacier Toyota. We've been having fun showing off this hybrid to people. People have been pretty excited to see it. And in that vein, Matt, again, I know it hasn't been the toughest conditions today, but you've been doing all the driving here in the TRD Pro, so why don't you give the folks some of your impressions on what you've been feeling?
Yeah, these roads have certainly not been tough by any stretch. We've been averaging well over 100 kilometers from the majority of the time. The biggest on-road impression I've been taking from this thing is I've had to pass a couple. We've been in a very logging-heavy area today. I've had to pass a few trucks, a couple of slower service cars and trucks. And when you really get into the throttle on this thing, the back end has got a real squash to it. You can really feel it when that torque comes on and you get that drop. And it's an on-road thing. Certainly off-road, that squash is what's going to give you such good handling over the bumps. But out here, you get that squash plus the little bit of G-force for the lane change. The back end certainly doesn't like the road crown. There's a little bit of a wash there, but overall, this thing's been solid, tons of power.
That's what I was going to ask. What's the power like when you're passing, though? Because that's part of it. It's squashing the suspension because it's so powerful.
I've yet to have to put my foot to the floor.
Nice.
I've maybe given it a 75% throttle input tops today, and there's been, I mean, at one point I had to get past a truck quick and I blanked down, and don't tell the OPP, but I saw 158. So there's tons of power.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus it's not the OPP.
That's right. The RCMP. I'm not in Ontario. I'm sorry.
That's funny. Okay folks, first wildlife sighting. I know it's really far away, but that little black dot in the center of your screen, that is a black bear. Hopefully it'll move.
There he goes. Now he's on the move.
There he goes. I spotted him across a field.
This is just south of Smithers, British Columbia.
Yeah, we're just outside of Smithers. We've seen more deer than I can count, but I haven't even really been getting shots because we've all seen a million deer before, but that's our first bear. Right on. Talking about the power, and I'm noticing it right now. We're coming down this long grade. It's actually called 6 Mile Hill. It's a pretty long hill, probably 6 miles. Nah, it's not quite 6 miles. Anyways, we're coming down this hill and the engine shuts off. This ICE, the actual internal combustion engine, loves to shut off every chance it gets. And the other thing I really appreciate about this digital gauge cluster, you get an I-force gauge and then you get what they call a max gauge. Now the max is telling you how much electrical output is being delivered from that electric motor. The I-force gauge is telling you how much turbo boost you're getting. And you can see my shots here, as you're driving along, you see it starts with the electric and then the turbo comes on and kind of takes over for the power. Actually, I did like it when you're really mad at, they both kind of jump up and then the electric falls off. But I just think that's really cool that Toyota gives you the information so you actually understand exactly what's happening. And then another thing I want to mention, because we actually had multiple questions about this, Matt, you might actually be able to explain it better than me. This is sort of what they would call a standard hybrid setup. The battery doesn't die here. It's not like a plug-in hybrid where the battery can be depleted. The battery is constantly being charged through big brake deceleration and by the engine. And then when you are decelerating or going downhill, you'll build back up some of that power. So we had a couple of those questions. I just wanted to make that clear. Is that a decent explanation?
That is, yeah.
Okay. Of course, one of the benefits of that engine shutting off like that should be good fuel economy. And we are keeping track of all of our numbers. We're going to do the math ourselves. If I'm totally honest, I don't really trust the computer in this truck because it's a pre-production truck. I don't think the numbers it's giving us are accurate. So we're gonna do it ourselves and we will report back.
All right, so it's Friday morning. We're fueling up just before we hit the road. And this will be the second time we've filled, so it's our first opportunity to actually calculate the mileage on this truck manually. So what we do to try to keep it consistent is we will let this fill till it clicks off, then wait 30 seconds, then hit the nozzle again to make sure that it is actually full, and then whatever that number is, we will do the calculation. And of course the most important thing is when all that's over, I have to go inside and negotiate a loan to pay for all this.
Alors, il remplit le réservoir. Lorsqu'il a fini de remplir le réservoir, ce qu'il fait, il laisse reposer quelques secondes, une trentaine de secondes, que toutes les bulles éclatent, et puis on peut en remettre quelques gouttes de plus dans le réservoir, dont celles qui sont restées dans le pistolet lui-même. Ça fait un réservoir qui est un peu plus plein, c'est tout.
Hey, what's happening today?
We're working, brother. We're always working. I'm getting the latest video uploaded right now out of the truck because we have no time to stay in hotels and do uploads. So we're working on the road, baby.
You're the man. Who the man?
You the man.
Ah, you the man.
So yeah, we're almost to our next dealer visit, and then tonight we also are gonna have some free time. It's gonna be one of our last nights with a bit of free time.
And some sleep.
And hopefully get some sleep. So what we wanna do, because we've had a lot of questions from the viewers, thank you, we're gonna go out tonight and we're gonna give you a really great look at all of the lighting features on these Tundras. Okay folks, now a quick wall test. We're here in the dark with the lights just pointed right at a wall. So these are just the regular low beams at night. There's the fog lamps down low there, you can see them. Apologize for the focus. There's the high beams. And now what I want you to notice about the high beams is that they're very much pointed directly in front of the truck. And now watch when I turn on the light bar. The light bar actually really widens the amount of light. Now the intensity in the very middle doesn't really change that much, but the light bar really throws the light out to the sides. And so that's what I think is cool. If you were out off-roading on a dark trail, you throw the light bar on and you're gonna be able to see in front and to the side of this truck. Okay, now here's the wall light test here in the TRD off-road, and of course we don't have that awesome light bar here. So there's my fogs, brings you the light down low, and there's the high beams. They are definitely quite bright, but just a thinner amount of light for sure than you're gonna get out of that TRD Pro with that big light bar. Well, folks, you asked and we are delivering. We are out here to show you what these two Tundras look like at night. It's 11 p.m. here in Smithers, BC. I can't believe we're still awake because we have so much driving to do tomorrow, but here we are so you can see what these trucks look like. So here we have the TRD off-road, pretty basic light setup. You do get a nice pair of fogs down there lower and then the upper headlights. The TRD Pro though, this is where the lighting gets crazy. You get these unique kind of swooshes in the headlights, the 3 marker lights across the grille, the integrated light bar, and this thing is not just there for looks, it's functional. Now when you come over here, I also have to point out that the turn signals in the front are cascading, which is really a nice effect, and that's only here on the Pro, not over there on the off-road. Now as we roll down the side, you're also getting marker lights down there in your fenders, again a little bit of an orange touch, and this truck has lights here in the mirrors too, so everyone knows when you're turning. Round back, you get 2 more neat light setups. First of all, the tail light. These also cascade when you're signaling. I love that effect, it's so cool. And then finally, when you're out here at night and you want to work, you can light up this bed basically bright as day so that you can see whatever you are working on. Well folks, we have arrived at the end of this video. Now if you've been following the series, you might have noticed that we missed a day publishing. Well, that's because we've been on the road, but also there's no more cell service. Down in the south, I was using that cell service to upload from the truck, but that's no longer possible, so I have to use Wi-Fi, which generally isn't the fastest at the hotels we're staying at. So I just can't guarantee it's coming every day, but I promise we are working as hard as we can to bring you all of the goods from this Tundra to the Arctic trip. Now, next video, we're gonna finally discuss the big numbers, those being fuel economy, so make sure you stay tuned.